The storm had been falling for 3 days without a break. Thick gray clouds covered the sky, and the wind kept howling across the empty fields like some old, tired creature that refused to rest. Marcus Hale stood at the edge of his porch, staring at the ruined shuttle that had crashed beyond the tree line earlier that morning. He had heard the explosion just after sunrise, one deep boom, followed by the sharp crack of metal breaking apart. At first, he thought it might be a meteor, but the smoke rising from the forest told him otherwise. Humanity had been living in a tense peace with a few alien civilizations for the last 5 years. Encounters were rare in Marcus's rural region, far from the main cities and spaceports. But even rare events could happen, and today was proof. Marcus grabbed his waterproof jacket, pulled up the hood, and began moving toward the forest. His boots sank into the soft, wet ground, and the rain hit his face in cold, sharp drops. He had no weapon with him, only a flashlight and an emergency kit. Still, he felt uneasy. A crashed alien shuttle could mean trouble, radiation, aggressive survivors, or some military situation he did not want to be part of. But he also knew one thing clearly. Arma. If someone was hurt in that crash, walking away was not an option. As he pushed through the bushes, the smell of burning metal grew stronger. The trees thinned, and soon, he stood before the wreck. The shuttle had torn a long scar through the ground, dirt and roots thrown everywhere. Its hull was split open, glowing faintly in places where energy cells had ruptured. Sparks danced along broken wires. Steam rolled out into the cold rain, hissing softly. Marcus slowly approached, scanning every angle. "Hello?" he called. "Anyone alive in there?" No answer. He stepped closer, using his flashlight to peer inside the broken interior. Empty passenger seats, shattered screens, debris scattered everywhere. But no bodies, no movement. The shuttle seemed abandoned. He turned to leave, then heard it. A weak sound, almost a whisper, like someone trying and failing to breathe properly. Marcus froze. The sound came again, this time from behind the shuttle, near a cluster of fallen branches. He hurried over, shoving aside a piece of twisted metal blocking his way. Then he saw her, a figure lying half-hidden beneath the wreckage. She was clearly alien, humanoid in shape, but her skin glowed faintly in changing tones of blue and violet. Rainwater made her light shimmer softly, almost like the surface of a quiet lake under the moon. Her hair was pale silver, flowing across the muddy ground like strands of thin crystal. She wore some kind of uniform, torn and burnt along one side. A deep cut ran across her arm, and her breathing was uneven. Marcus knelt beside her. Her eyes opened slowly. They glowed faint gold. She looked at him, confused, drifting in and out of awareness. When she tried to move, pain tightened her features. "Stay away," she whispered. Her voice was soft, almost like a musical echo. "Danger. Not safe. You're hurt," Marcus said. He lifted the debris, trapping her lower leg. She cried out softly but did not resist. When he checked her injury, he saw no broken bones, just bruising and shock. Gently, he helped her sit up, supporting her weight. "Can you walk?" She shook her head slowly. Her glow flickered weakly now, dimming as she struggled for breath. Marcus realized the glow was not just decoration. It was probably connected to her health. He made a quick decision. "My home is close," he said. "I'll take you there. You need rest, warmth, and medical help." Her golden eyes met his again, full of fear, pain, and something he couldn't understand. "You would help a stranger? A foreigner?" "Someone's hurt," Marcus replied simply. "That's all that matters." For a moment, she stared at him, as if the words were something rare and precious. Then, she nodded once. Marcus lifted her carefully into his arms. She was surprisingly light, almost weightless, as if her bones were hollow, or her body partly energy-based. The glow of her skin warmed the air around her. Her head rested weakly against his shoulder as he carried her through the rain, back toward his home. Each step felt heavier than the last, not because of her weight, but because of the growing worry in his mind. He had no idea who she was, or what trouble might follow her. A crashed alien shuttle was not a small event. Someone would be searching for it. And if that someone was dangerous, he tightened his grip on her and walked faster. By the time he reached his house, the storm had grown worse. Lightning flashed in the sky, and thunder shook the windows. Marcus pushed the door open with his shoulder and stepped inside. The warmth of the small, cozy living room wrapped around them, a sharp contrast to the freezing rain outside. He laid the alien woman gently on the couch, then fetched blankets and the emergency medical kit. She watched him with half-closed eyes, exhaustion pulling her down like gravity. "You're safe here," Marcus said. "Let me see your wounds." She did not resist, though she seemed confused by every simple act of kindness. He cleaned the cut on her arm, wrapped it carefully, and checked for other injuries. Most were burns or bruises, painful but not life-threatening. The biggest problem was how faint her glow had become. It flickered unsteadily, like a flame fighting against a strong wind. "Your light," Marcus said carefully. "Is it fading because you're injured?" She blinked slowly. "My energy reacts to emotion and health. Fear, pain, shock. They make the glow unstable. If it fades completely..." She paused, catching her breath. "Bad outcome. Then you need to rest," Marcus said. "You can stay here tonight. I'll move you to the spare room, it's quieter." Her eyes widened slightly. "You offer a room?" "A bed," he corrected gently. "You need to lie down." The way she reacted made him pause. She stared at him with an expression he couldn't understand. Surprise, confusion, something deeper he couldn't name. To her, the offer seemed far more important than it should have been. But before he could ask, exhaustion overcame her. She leaned back into the couch, eyes closing. "Thank you, human," she murmured, before drifting into sleep. "My name is Aria." Marcus watched her for a moment, then nodded, even though she could no longer hear him. "Rest now, Aria." He lifted her once more and carried her to the small guest room. The glow of her skin softened, turning a gentle, pale blue. As he placed her on the bed, he pulled the blankets over her, making sure she was comfortable. For a moment, he stood silently, observing the peaceful rise and fall of her breathing. She looked fragile, almost ethereal in the dim room. He wondered what had brought her here, what danger chased her, and why she had been alone on that shuttle. He also wondered if someone or something was coming to look for her. As he stepped out of the room, he noticed something strange. The glow around her body suddenly grew brighter for a brief second, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. He frowned. "What does that mean?" he whispered to himself. He didn't know it yet. But his simple act of offering her a safe place, offering her a bed, carried meaning in Aria's culture, far greater than any human could guess. And the glowing pulse was the first sign of something irreversible beginning. Marcus barely slept that night. Even after he left Aria, resting in the guest room, worry kept circling in his mind, like a restless bird that refused to land. He sat at the small wooden table in his kitchen, listening to the rain hammer against the roof. Every few minutes, he checked the window, half expecting lights in the sky, or someone approaching the house. Nothing happened, only the storm. Around dawn, the rain finally slowed to a soft drizzle. Marcus sighed, rubbed his tired eyes, and stepped quietly toward the guest room. He didn't want to wake her, but he needed to make sure she was still breathing, still glowing. When he pushed the door open, he froze. Aria was awake, sitting upright on the bed, and her glow was stronger than last night. Much stronger. Her skin shimmered in soft blues and violets, bright enough to light the walls around her. The pale silver of her hair looked like strands of liquid light. She looked healthy. Better than yesterday. But something felt different. Aria lifted her gaze to him. Her golden eyes were calm and warm, like sunlight shining through clear water. "Good morning, Marcus Hale." He stepped inside. "You're awake. How do you feel?" Her glow brightened at the sound of his voice. "Stable. Because of you." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Me? I didn't do much. Just gave you a place to rest." Aria tilted her head, studying him carefully, almost like he had said something strange. "In Velari culture," she said gently, "giving shelter to someone in deep vulnerability is not small." Marcus sat on the chair near the bed. "I don't understand." "I know," she whispered. "You did not mean to start a bond." "A what?" She placed a hand lightly over her chest. The glow beneath her skin pulsed softly. "The bond of sanctuary," she explained. "It forms when one Velari receives emotional safety from another being at the moment of near collapse. It is a survival instinct of my species. A strong one." "Okay," Marcus said slowly. "But I'm human. How does that involve me?" Her expression softened. "The instinct does not care about species. It only reacts to intent. You gave me protection, comfort, and a bed to rest in. My body reacted. And now," her glow brightened slightly, "now it believes you are my anchor." Marcus blinked. "Your anchor?" "The one I must stay close to until my strength fully returns." She looked down, almost shy. "In Velari terms, it means you are my chosen mate." Marcus nearly fell out of his chair. "Whoa, hold on. I didn't agree to anything like that." Aria flinched slightly. But not from anger, more like confusion. "You offered shelter," she said softly. "To us, that is a sacred act. A vow of care. A promise." "A promise?" "I just helped someone who was injured." She lowered her head, her glow dimming for a moment. "I know humans do not see it the same. But to Velari, kindness is powerful. It binds. It saves lives. It shapes our biology." Marcus rubbed his forehead, trying to think. He wasn't angry, just overwhelmed. The idea that his simple, human act had triggered something so huge for her species felt unreal. He took a deep breath. "Okay. Let's slow down. You said this bond is about survival, right? You're recovering. So, what happens next?" Aria hesitated. "As long as the bond is forming, I will need to stay near you. A short distance away is fine. Not close in the romantic sense." She looked embarrassed. "The word mate carries many meanings. Some are simple, some are..." "So you're not saying we're married or something," Marcus said. She shook her head quickly. "No. Not unless both choose it willingly." She paused, voice quieter. "But the bond is still real. If it is broken too soon, my glow may collapse again. It can harm me." Marcus exhaled slowly. "All right. Then stay here until you're fully healed. You're safe." Her glow brightened again, warm and gentle. He stood and offered her a glass of water. She accepted it with both hands, staring at him as if he were doing something amazing. Every tiny act of kindness made her glow shift. "Do Velari always glow like that?" Marcus asked. "It is our life energy," she explained. "It reacts to our emotions. Fear makes it dim. Peace makes it steady. Gratitude," she glanced down at her hands, glowing softly, "makes it warm." Suddenly, her expression hardened. She looked at the window, alert. "There is something outside." Marcus moved beside her and listened. At first, he heard nothing but distant thunder. Then there it was, a faint humming sound, low and unnatural. Drones, Marcus's heart tightened. Are they yours? No, Aria whispered. The Raven Collective. They destroyed my shuttle. Marcus grabbed his jacket. Stay in the room. No, she said firmly. I must stand with you. The bond strengthens me. She slowly got out of bed. Her steps careful but steady. Her glow brightened enough to cast light on the hallway as Marcus led her toward the living room. He peered through the window. Small, black drones hovered over the trees, 3 of them moving slowly as if scanning the area. Why are they searching for you? He asked. Aria's voice lowered. I carry diplomatic memory keys. They contain critical information about alliance discussions between my people and yours. If the Ravens take them, they can drive our species into war. Marcus stared in disbelief. So you're important. I am only a messenger, she corrected. But the information I carry is important. The drones drew closer. Marcus swallowed. We need to hide you. Aria touched his arm lightly. No. If I hide alone, my glow will falter. I must stay close. She took a slow breath. I will follow your lead. You have protected me so far. Every way. Every way. Every way. Marcus looked at her glowing form and made a decision. Downstairs, he said. The basement has shielding. They won't detect you as easily. Aria nodded and followed him. Even in fear, her steps were graceful, almost floating. The glow around her adjusted to the dim light of the basement. Marcus helped her sit on an old couch near the power generator. She wrapped the blanket he handed her around her shoulders. The hum from the drones grew louder upstairs. Aria placed her hand on her chest. Stay close. The bond will keep me calm. Kreese. Marcus sat beside her. Tell me more about this bond, just so I understand. She looked at him with gentle eyes. It is not ownership. It is connection. It forms only when one being saves another during great fear or pain. It ties our emotions together for a short time. It lets me borrow your stability until I am strong again. So I'm like your emotional battery? Marcus asked. Aria blinked. Yes. That is a simple but correct description. And after you heal, then I will release you from the bond, she said softly, unless you choose otherwise. Choose what? Aria hesitated, her glow turning a soft pink embarrassment. A long-term connection. But that is not needed. Only chosen. Marcus didn't have time to respond. The humming outside suddenly stopped. Silence. Aria's body tensed. They are close. Marcus dimmed the basement lights. They sat in complete darkness except for Aria's faint glow, which she tried her best to suppress. The basement felt smaller, tighter. Every sound echoed too loudly. Then heavy footsteps above them. Someone had landed. A drone? No. He could hear slow, deliberate steps. Something heavier. Something searching. Marcus whispered. Aria, stay calm. Her glow flickered slightly in fear, then steadied as she closed her eyes and leaned closer to him. Your presence helps, she whispered. Please, stay near. The footsteps moved toward the stairs leading down into the basement. Marcus's heartbeat felt like a drum in his chest. Aria gripped his hand, and together, they waited in the dim glow of her light as the unknown figure descended the steps. The footsteps on the basement stairs were slow and heavy, each one echoing through the small room like a warning. Marcus felt Aria tense beside him. Her glow dimmed to a faint blue as she tried to remain calm, but fear still pulsed through her light like ripples in water. Marcus leaned close and whispered, Stay behind me. Aria nodded, gripping his hand tightly, not out of weakness, but out of survival instinct. The bond between them was growing stronger, and right now, that connection seemed to be the only thing helping her keep her energy steady. The basement door at the top of the stairs creaked open. A shadow spread across the wall, large and unfamiliar. Marcus swallowed hard. Whoever or whatever stood above them was not human. The figure finally stepped into view. It wasn't a raven soldier, at least not the kind Marcus had imagined. Instead, it was an armored scout drone, half machine, half organic. Its limbs were long and thin like sharp blades, and its head had a single, glowing red eye that rotated slowly, scanning the room. A reconnaissance unit. A scout for something much worse. The red eye swept across the basement, pausing when it detected Aria's faint glow. It emitted a chilling metallic click, and its body straightened as if preparing to signal others. Marcus acted fast. He reached for the old metal pipe hanging on the wall, a leftover from repair work he never finished. It wasn't a weapon, but it was better than nothing. Before he could swing, Aria placed her hand lightly on his arm. "No," she whispered. "If you attack it, it will call the swarm." "Well, we can't just sit here," Marcus whispered back. "What do we do?" Aria closed her eyes for a moment. "The bond gives me awareness. I can sense its weak point." "No." Her hand trembled, but her glow steadied as she focused. There, on its lower back, a small energy regulator. Hit it once, with enough force, and it will shut down. Marcus nodded. "All right. When I move, stay behind the couch." Aria obeyed without question. Marcus stepped quietly around the side of the basement, crouching low. The drone's red eye scanned toward him, but it hesitated, perhaps confused by the dim light and the old machinery scattered around the room. Marcus moved quickly. He swung the metal pipe with all his strength, hitting the exact spot Aria described. A loud crack echoed through the basement as the drone sparked violently. Its limbs twitched, and the red eye flashed erratically before going dark. The machine collapsed onto the floor. Aria exhaled shakily. "You did it." Marcus leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "Let's hope it didn't send a signal." Aria closed her eyes again, focusing on the remaining bond energy. "No," she whispered. "It died too fast. You were quick." "Good," Marcus said. "But that means more are coming. We need to prepare." Aria stood slowly, steadying herself with the couch. Her glow brightened, a little fear fading, strength returning. "You are not just a simple engineer," she said softly. "You protect with courage I did not expect." Marcus managed a tired smile. "I'm trying." He led Aria upstairs. The storm outside had ended, leaving the air heavy with the smell of wet earth and metal. Marcus peeked out the window carefully. The sky was not empty anymore. 3 larger ships hovered above the distant forest. Raven dropships, shaped like dark wings with sharp edges that cut across the sky. Smaller drones swarmed around them, like aggressive insects. They were searching. "Why do they want your memory keys so badly?" Marcus asked. Aria sat on the couch, her glow flickering. "Because the alliance between humans and Velari threatens the Raven Collective. They want the keys to sabotage peace talks. If war breaks out, they will take advantage of the chaos to expand their territory." Marcus frowned. "So, Earth could get dragged into a war we didn't start." "Yes," Aria whispered. "Unless the alliance becomes official soon. That is why I was traveling to a meeting point with human diplomats. But the Ravens attacked the shuttle before I arrived." Marcus paced the room, thinking fast. "We can't stay here. They'll find the house, sooner or later." Aria looked up. "Where can we go?" "There's an old relay station 5 miles from here," Marcus said. "Abandoned since last year. But it still has a working long-range transmitter. We could send a distress signal." Aria's glow brightened with hope. "Then that's the plan." Marcus grabbed his backpack and started filling it with essentials: water, first aid supplies, spare batteries, food. Aria tried to stand again, but her knees shook. Marcus rushed to her side. "Hey, easy." "I'm fine," she insisted softly. "My energy is still adjusting. The bond, it is growing." Marcus raised an eyebrow. Is that why your glow keeps changing? Yes. Your presence strengthens me. The more stable your emotions, the stronger I become. Marcus let out a short breath. Well, that's a problem. My emotions are all over the place right now. Aria gave him a small, gentle smile. Even with fear, your heart stays steady. That is rare. He didn't answer. He didn't know how to. Instead, he helped her walk toward the door. Her glow illuminated the hallway. Soft, but steady now. It provided comfort, like a lantern in the dark. Just as Marcus opened the door to step outside, Aria gasped. Her hand flew to her chest, and her glow suddenly flared bright white. Aria? What's wrong? She looked up with wide, alarmed eyes. They detected the scout's signal. Or its absence. The swarm is coming. Before Marcus could react, a loud buzzing noise filled the air. He grabbed Aria's hand and pulled her away from the doorway as a cluster of drones swooped down, scanning the house with bright blue beams. Their movements were sharp and aggressive. We need to go out the back, Marcus yelled. They ran through the kitchen, Aria staying close behind him. Marcus pushed open the back door and led her toward the tree line. The forest was thick and dark, the wet ground slippery under their feet. The sound of drones followed them, buzzing louder, angrier. Aria tripped once, but Marcus caught her. Her glow brightened when he held her, giving her enough strength to keep running. Your presence, she whispered breathlessly. It helps me more than you know. Marcus didn't answer. He only tightened his grip and kept running. After several minutes, they reached a small clearing. Marcus stopped to catch his breath. Aria leaned against a tree trunk, breathing heavily but steady. We need to mislead them, Marcus said. They're tracking your energy, right? Aria nodded. Yes, but I can lower my glow for a short time. It will be painful, but possible. Marcus shook his head firmly. No pain. Save your strength. We'll use something else. He dug into his backpack until he found a small power converter, part of an old tool he used for field repairs. He turned it on and threw it into the bushes across the clearing. The device emitted a bright pulse of energy. Within seconds, several drones darted toward the false signal. Aria looked at him, impressed. Clever. It'll buy us a few minutes, Marcus said. Let's keep moving. They continued deeper into the forest. The path was rough, filled with fallen branches and mud, but Marcus guided her carefully. Aria stayed close, relying on his presence to keep her glow stable. As they climbed a small hill, Aria suddenly gasped again. What is it? Marcus asked. Her golden eyes widened, reflecting the dim sunlight filtering through the leaves. I can sense something through the bond, she whispered. A threat, bigger than the drones. Marcus felt a chill creep up his spine. What kind of threat? They have sent a hunter, she said, voice trembling. A high-class raven warrior. They use these when they want to make sure nothing escapes. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Great. Just what we needed. Ever. Aria reached for his hand again, her glow warming as their connection strengthened. Marcus nodded, even though fear pressed heavy in his chest. They continued through the forest together, knowing a dangerous enemy was now tracking them with deadly precision, and the real battle had only just begun. The forest grew darker as Marcus and Aria climbed the final hill. The air felt heavy, filled with the smell of wet leaves and distant smoke. Even the birds were silent now. Every shadow felt like it was hiding something dangerous. Aria stopped suddenly. Her glow flickered in warning. He is close, she whispered. Marcus looked around. The hunter? Aria nodded. Yes. A high-class raven warrior does not move like the drones. He is faster, stronger, and he hunts with purpose. He can track energy signatures even when the glow is low. Marcus exhaled slowly. So, hiding won't work. No, she said softly. But reaching the relay station will. They both turned toward the top of the hill. Beyond it, only a short distance away, stood the old relay station, an abandoned metal tower with broken panels and rusted antennas. It looked fragile, forgotten, and completely out of place in the quiet forest. But for them, it was hope. "We're close," Marcus said. "We just have to make it inside." He took Aria's hand, and together they hurried up the path. Her glow steadied as she felt his determination. She moved with more strength now, her steps sure and fast. When they reached the top, Marcus saw the entrance, a wide metal door, half broken but still usable. He pushed it open, helping Aria inside. The interior smelled like dust and old wires, but the equipment room in the back still had power. Aria placed her hand gently on one of the consoles. Her glow passed into the metal, like soft waves. "It still works," she said. "I can send a distress signal, but I will need your help." Marcus stood beside her. "Tell me what to do." She looked into his eyes, her glow warming. "Stay close. The bond will stabilize me while I transmit the message. Without it, the signal could harm me." Marcus nodded. "I'm not going anywhere." Aria sat on a small bench and closed her eyes. Her glow brightened, spreading across the equipment, like light reflecting through glass. Symbols formed in the air around her Velari codes, spinning in graceful patterns. Marcus watched in quiet awe. Then, without warning, the entire station shook. A loud metal impact rang through the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. Aria's eyes flew open. "He is here." Marcus turned toward the door. There, standing in the entrance of the relay station, was the hunter. He was taller than any human, covered in thick black armor that shimmered with sharp angles. His face was hidden behind a mask of dark metal, with two glowing red eyes scanning the room. His steps were silent, controlled, almost elegant. This was no mindless machine. This was a soldier. The hunter tilted his head as he stared at Aria. "Target located," he said, in a cold, metallic voice. Marcus stepped between them instinctively. The hunter aimed a long, sharp arm toward Marcus. "Move, human." "No," Marcus said firmly. The hunter paused for half a second, surprised, then charged. Marcus barely had time to roll aside. The hunter's blade-like limbs sliced through the metal floor where he had stood seconds before. Sparks flew everywhere. Marcus picked up a broken metal pole lying nearby and swung it toward the hunter. The pole struck the armor and bent instantly. The hunter didn't even flinch. Aria stood quickly, her glow bursting bright white. The hunter turned toward her. "Your energy is unstable. You are weak." "My bond makes me stronger," she said, her voice steady. The hunter lunged at her. Marcus reacted without thinking. He grabbed the first object he could find, a fallen metal panel, and blocked the hunter's strike. The impact knocked him backward, but it slowed the warrior just enough for Aria to move. She extended her hand toward Marcus. "Marcus, come to me." He ran to her side, standing close. Immediately, her glow brightened, wrapping around both of them like a warm shield. The hunter charged again. Aria lifted her hand and released a burst of light, not an attack, but a shockwave. It wasn't strong enough to destroy the hunter, but it pushed him back several steps. The warrior stumbled, surprised, but he did not retreat. "Your energy is incomplete," the hunter said calmly. "Without a full bond, you cannot defeat me." Aria's voice trembled not in fear, but in determination. "Then, I will complete it now." She grabbed Marcus's hands. Her glow exploded in a brilliant pulse. Marcus felt it immediately: warmth, clarity, connection. It was like standing in sunlight after years of darkness. The energy wasn't painful. It felt natural, like something choosing to be whole. Aria gasped as the bond locked into place. Her entire body glowed bright blue and gold. The hunter raised his arms defensively. Impossible. A wave of energy surged from Aria and Marcus together. It struck the hunter with incredible force, like a storm of light. He tried to resist, digging his metal feet into the floor, but the energy overwhelmed him. His armor cracked. His red eyes flickered. Then, with a final burst of light, the hunter was thrown back and slammed into the far wall. His body collapsed, unmoving. The red lights faded from his mask. Silence filled the room. Marcus released a shaky breath. Aria's glow slowly softened from bright gold to calm blue. "Are you all right?" Marcus asked. "Ah." Aria nodded gently, though her voice was soft. "The bond saved me, and saved you. Now, we must finish the signal." Marcus helped her sit again. Her glow flowed into the equipment, activating the transmitter fully. Her voice became strong and clear. "This is Envoy Aria of the Velari. Coordinates locked. Emergency distress signal. Raven Collective active. Requesting immediate support." The console beeped, confirming transmission. Aria slumped slightly. Marcus supported her. "Did it send?" he asked. "Yes," she whispered, and they heard it. Moments later, the sky outside lit up. Marcus ran to the door and looked out. Bright lights streaked through the clouds, large, powerful ships descending in formation. Their hulls glowed with soft, blue patterns. The Velari Peace Fleet. Behind them, human starships appeared sleek, silver, and armed. A combined force. They had responded. Aria stood beside him, steady now. "Your people and mine will fight together today." The Raven ships in the sky began to fire, but the joint fleet moved fast. Human and Velari fighters broke through enemy lines with coordinated precision. Energy beams lit the sky as the battle raged above the forest. Marcus watched the conflict unfold, amazed. Aria touched his arm gently. "They came because of us. Because you sent the signal." Marcus corrected. "Because you helped me send it," she said softly. "Without you, none of this would happen." The battle lasted only minutes. The Raven ships, outnumbered and overwhelmed, retreated into the upper atmosphere and vanished into jump space. The sky slowly cleared. Human rescue crews and Velari envoys landed near the relay station. Officers rushed toward Marcus and Aria, surprised to find the envoy alive and bonded to a human. Marcus stepped back, unsure how they would react, but Aria held his hand gently, her glow warm and comforting. One of the human officers approached him. A Velari diplomat bowed respectfully toward Aria. "Your survival secures our alliance." Aria smiled softly. "My survival was because of this human." Marcus felt warmth rise in his chest. Later, as the sun began to set, Aria and Marcus stood outside the relay station. The forest was quiet again, peaceful. Aria looked at him with gentle eyes. "The bond is complete," she said. "It can fade in time, unless you choose to keep it." Marcus chuckled softly. "And what happens if I keep it?" Aria's glow turned a warm gold. "Then our lives stay connected, not by force, by choice." Marcus looked at her, truly looked. He remembered how he found her in the rain, fragile and alone, how she trusted him, how they survived together, and how her glow always warmed the air around them. "I think," Marcus said slowly, "that choice sounds pretty good." Aria smiled, bright, hopeful, beautiful. Together, they walked forward into a future where two species stood united, and where one human's kindness had changed more than a single life. It had changed the galaxy.